So this is the original accelerator pedal. Obviously you have your ball pivots here, which snaps onto the accelerator rod that goes back through the rear bulkhead and attaches to the throttle linkage that goes to the original engine. So this is going to be no longer be used, and enter the 2014 Corvette electronic gas pedal. That's a 6-pin. There are a couple different pin designs. You can see this 6-pin connector right there. So from the harness, the LS wiring harness, you snap on your 6-pin connector here for the fly-by wire, or the drive-by wire, and your throttle will be activated through this essentially rheostat here. And then you basically have to mount this on your, I'm going to have to build probably a 14 gauge plate for the bottom of this, because I figured that the angle, if it's flat, this is when it sits flat. So if you look at the angle that when that Corvette pedal is sitting flat, it's about like that. But for the original pedal sitting flat, it's at an angle like that. And it's about 3 to 4 inches longer. So in order to replicate this angle, which I'm used to when driving, using the new pedal that has an angle like that when it's sitting flat on the floor, I'm going to weld in a piece of plate steel in the bottom, probably 1/8 inch, and then force this to be at an angle about like that. So that's a no-brainer. That's not really anything really involved. It's just custom welding to make this, to give this an angle that's similar to the original equipment manufacturer's angle of the OEM pedal. What else was I going to say? I wanted the floor-mounted Corvette pedal. This, as I said, is from 2014, and there are about actually 5 different electronic pedals that Corvette had used since '97 when the LS came out. And the most common Corvette pedal you'll find online when you're looking for pedals is a top-mounted pedal that essentially just gets activated like this. It's on a long arm that you have to do a little bit of sheet metal work with on top, and then the pedal's actuated like this with the hinge on some sheet metal that you work with on top. But I simply went with a floor mounted. So this is all pretty much a no-brainer thing. I think in the comments I'll put the GM part number for this, because you can commonly get 3 or 4 part numbers that come up whenever you're trying to hunt something down. So this is also something that you just can't get online really quickly. I went to a GM parts store that ordered parts from GM dealers and then shipped them out. So it was shipped from a GM dealer. So, there's a large network of parts, but it's not something you can go to Summit to, or JAGS to, or O'Reilly's or AutoZone, because it's a little bit kind of a boutique part. But nevertheless, people do need to order fuel pedals all the time for accidents and when things wear out. So there you have it. A little bit on the electronic gas pedal used, floor mounted. A little bit on the OEM gas pedal that's going to go in the history bin. And then preparation of the original 912 1968 cluster pedal assembly. A little bit of welding to beef up some areas where the springs wore into these round tubular structures. And then coating, degreasing all these parts, and then applying POR 15's metal prep, and then making these ready for POR 15, the glossy black. So we'll revisit this again once it's installed, and then also once I have the floor section all completed.